Mm.
So
it's an argument for design.
let me hold on. Let me just say, as far as I know, there are arguments like this. Because of quantum mechanics, we know that prior to observation, nothing exists. Therefore, there must be a knower for anything to exist. Right? We know this from quantum mechanics. So
Mm.
a knower is a necessary condition of reality itself. So how did reality come into existence if there was no one to know it? So the transcendental argument is how are there transcendental categories? But this is a materialistic argument, right? How does the material world even exist without a knower? Because according to modern science, without a knower, there's no the collapse of the wave function makes particles come into existence, right? You have to have an observer, like Schrodinger's cat and all that shit. Right?
Mm.
So his argument is an empirical, materialistic view of it's kind of like from the materialist paradigm that there would be no material world in the first place. Whereas Dyer and the typical tag argument is there would be no transcendental categories like mathematics, the laws of logic, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Those things.
Yeah.
That is so wrong about quantum mechanics. It's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, what was the wrong part?
You think that somebody has to observe something for the wave function to collapse? Do you really think that? Yeah.
Do I think that?
Wrong.
Well, I don't. All I know is in the quantum mechanical formalism, before the measurement, before the input and the output, nobody knows what happens.
That is correct. It's in superposition.
What does that mean, though?
It's in a variety of probabilistic states.
Okay, what does that mean, though?
The behavior.
How many?
Yeah, I know what it means, but I just want you to say it because I know the fucking goddamn spin. Okay.
Okay, good.
So I want you to phrase it. What does that mean? What does that mean ontologically?
So you know that it's not an observation.
What does that mean ontologically? What does that mean? I am well aware of that, dude. I knew it before you were ever alive. So, ontologically, what does that mean?
I've already given you two answers.
I know.
If you don't like either one of those, maybe you should provide the answer.
No, I want to know, does a probability amplitude exist?
It's a wave function, yes.
Yeah, so a probability amplitude exists.
The wave function contains an amplitude, yes.
A probability amplitude of the result of a measurement. So it's a probabilistic equation for I'm going to get some measurement value at some point in time. You're saying that probability has its own existence?
It exists as a mathematical construct.
Okay, so it doesn't have an existence. So that's why I want to know, what is your ontology, dude? What exists in the real world? You think I'm inventing this shit? John Bell talked about this shit.
I think what you're inventing is
ontologically, you can't say what exists between the slits and the screen. Nobody can.
I think what you're inventing is the claim that somebody has to know or watch the collapse of the function. That's not true.
If there's no measurement outcome, can you say what exists?
Prior to the measurement? No, it's a probabilistic function, as we've covered.
Okay, and you said that's just a mathematical construct.
Uh-huh.
So nothing exists.
And so the question posed to you is, what causes the collapse of the wave function?
The measurement.
A measurement. Really?
In the Copenhagen interpretation, it's the measurement which causes the collapse of the wave function.
No, that's false. You should study quantum mechanics.
Then you tell me. Then you tell
Interaction.
me.
Interaction.
Then correct me. Interaction with what? Interaction with what?
Anything.
The measuring device?
It could be a measuring device, or it could be a photon.
Measurement in this sense is the broad term. Okay.
So does bumping into a photon count as a measurement?
It doesn't mean a device, a specific device. Hey, it doesn't mean that. When you say measurement,
bumping into a photon count as a measurement?
Yes.
It does. Oh, okay. So you're just throwing measurement out to mean literally any interaction with anything.
That's how it's used. That's how it's used in the field, dude. That's how it's used in the field of quantum mechanics.
No,
measurement means any interaction with any. Yes, dude. Listen, I'll give you a reference, dude. Read. You know who John Bell is?
Yes.
Okay. He wrote a paper. It's called Against Measurement.
He wrote a paper that defined measurement as what it doesn't mean.
It's called Against Measurement. Read it. He goes over the literature of what a measurement means.
And according to him, well, I want to check you on this. According to him, a measurement is any interaction with anything.
According to the citations that he gives in the freaking what he wrote.
Okay, so if I go and read what he wrote, I'm going to see him say that a measurement means any interaction with anything. He's going to say that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Verbatim? No. Not verbatim.
Well, paraphrase, but the idea of bumping into anything, that's a measurement according to him.
According to him, a measurement is an interaction with the environment. Whatever it is. Photon, electron, a fucking whatever.
So I'm going to go and
when
look
the
for
wave
this.
function collapses. I'm
going to go and look for this. And if I can't find it, will you admit you're wrong?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
If you listen, your inability to find it does not necessitate that I'm wrong.
Okay, well, why not you find it then and present it? Show us the paper where he wrote that.
You'd have to read the whole thing and then comprehend it, right? So the whole argument, in Bell's argument, he gave plenty of talks on this, that there is no there. There's no ontology, and there's people still talking about this in the philosophy of science. I know that the philosophy department is fucking, fucking your head will start spinning. It's like walking into a fucking church or a Satanist, right? I know the philosophy department hurts you, but guess what? It's well known that nobody knows what happens between the screen and the quote-unquote measurement, right? The screen and the slit. Nobody knows what happens. There's no quantum. You can't figure out what happens. There's a probability amplitude, which ain't real, right? They'll call it variables. What are the variables? What actually exists in nature, right? We make the measurement, the quote-unquote wave function collapses, and we get a result. But what existed before that? What existed between the emission of, say, a photon, electron, and the detection at the screen? What happened in there? They can't say.
Do you speak to your mother like that?
Do I speak to my mother like that?
Are you done? Because all of that was irrelevant to what we're talking about.
No, it's not.
We're talking about what constitutes...
It's relevant to my point. Without an observer...
Well, actually, if we use what you claim to be Bell's definition for measurement, then that rules out your argument for God earlier.
Oh, no.
The argument is that things at the quantum level don't have an existence without an observer. That's the argument.
That's false.
Okay, you can say it's false, but how do you... Listen, okay.
Quantum mechanics does not require an observer.
How does the wave function collapse?
Interaction.
Okay, so...
It's not somebody looking at it.
What?
Anything. We've already covered
this. How do you know an interaction happened?
Because it's suddenly measurable.
By what?
By any measuring device that we employ.
And then what?
And you observe it.
And then it's observed.
Then you observe it. A human being observes it, right?
Now that we humans exist, yes, but that observation was not required for the wave function to collapse in the first place.
Who put the measurement device?
So Schrodinger's dead or alive cat in a box is his argument against quantum mechanics. The cat has a definite state in the box. It's either dead or alive. You just don't know until you open the box. It's observer dependent. You're trying to rewrite history.
It is not observer dependent. No, you are misunderstanding quantum mechanics.
Is the cat dead or alive in the box?
It's undetermined.
Undetermined.
Correct. Prior to a photon entering the box and bouncing off the cat, its state is undetermined. If that photon goes into nobody's eyes, it's still a solidified state.
Okay, when does it become determined? As soon as it's observed, right?
No, as soon as the photon bounces off of it.
No. We're not talking about the photon. The box is fucking closed, dude. The box
you open the box. You open the box.
Is the cat dead or alive? Is the cat dead or alive?
Prior to letting any interaction occur, it's undetermined.
Okay. So you don't know. It has this imaginary state.
Correct.
And that imaginary state doesn't become real until someone looks at the cat.
False.
Oh, really? So
I don't know
it
why.
had,
Why
like,
are you
even
not
though
getting this?
nobody. No, because everything you're saying is wrong. You can't verify a goddamn word you're saying unless there's a human being to observe it.
False.
Yeah, dude, then who is making them? Who is validating that the interaction occurred at all?
We're not talking
That doesn't
about
even exist in
validation.
the box.
We're talking about the collapse of the wave function, which only requires an interaction, not an observation.
How do you know an interaction happened? You don't know unless there's an observer, dude.
That's exactly my point.
You're trying to disconnect the observer from the interaction, dude, and it's a value network.
They are completely different. They are completely different.
In what way? What's up? What distinguishes them? What's the distinction?
A photon entering your eye is the observation. A photon bouncing off the cat is the interaction. If no photons that bounced off the cat go into anybody's eye, nobody sees the cat, but the cat's state has been solidified.
Okay, is the photon entering the eye, does that have an interaction?
Yes, the photon interacts with the eye.
Okay, so how do you know that's not the interaction you're observing?
We're talking about the interaction with the cat.
Isn't. Well, how do you? Well, that was one interaction with the photon, but then a photon hits your eye, and that's a different interaction, and that's what you're seeing, right? So you're actually not seeing the interaction with the cat. So nice try. Eventually, there's always going to be an observer.
Collapse. So you've probably read an article or two about quantum mechanics.
You don't understand that was an argument of the thing. You don't understand. It's not an argument, dude. Refute what I said.
You've watched a few YouTube videos about quantum mechanics, and you think you're an expert.
Okay. Yeah, refute what I said. Refute what I said. Stop talking about me. Refute what I said.
Okay.
You refute what I said, right, BB?
Here's the refutation. There is a difference between interaction and observation. The collapse of the wave function requires interaction, which any quantum mechanics textbook will tell you. You're thinking that it's an observation.
Is interaction observation?
Observation occurs after an interaction.
Yeah, but is an observation an interaction?
And an observation is an observation an interaction? No.
Yeah, shut up. We're done. Fucking obfuscation.
Back to ocean. Do you know that ocean flies? Ocean flies. Do you read the website?